Oh, my Sunday. Happy Sunday, should I say? Yeah. It's a Sunday morning. Beautiful day to actually come out and run. So I'm taking advantage of it. Starting the day again on this, what I call positive notes. Yeah, that's what I'm actually doing. Starting my day on this positive note. It is absolutely amazing. Yesterday's run was history. So now I'm out again. For today's, because today is another brand new day. And I am grateful. That's all I gotta say. Grateful for it. Grateful for another beautiful morning. And I've just been kind of just taking my time too. Yep, that's what I've been doing. Taking my time with this running and what can I say this morning? What can I say? Except, let's go. So I don't know what's on my mind this morning already. So I'm going with the flow right now. Yeah, I'm just going with the flow. Just going with the flow. That's what I'm just doing, just going with the flow. It's been a wonderful day so far. So I don't know how many miles I've done yet, but I think I'm getting up there. So I don't know how many miles I'm going to run today. So usually I just pick up a route and start running it. And I do it based on how long it took me to finish it. So, and that's what I'm just doing right now. Pick up a route, start running, and I just do it based on how long it takes me. So with these routes that I'm picking, they're actually very nice neighborhoods. Yeah, very nice neighborhoods. So unlike when I was in South Carolina, I really had a lot of fun there too, because I was actually in nature. Yep, I was in nature, man. I just couldn't believe it. I was in nature. I get to see a lot of things. Got to ask a lot of questions. Yes, I got to ask a lot of questions. And I also got to answer a lot of thoughts in my head too. So that's just what I've been doing. Come up all these beautiful places that I've been running. It's just places that I go and meditate. Because I really want my running, the whole thing, to be meditating. It's funny, I saw a lot of people just pass me. Boo, boo. I'm like, wow. I remember many years ago, I would be chasing them down because I would want to catch up. And that was actually when I first started, over 12 or 14 years ago. So when I first started, anytime someone passes me, especially if they're a woman and they just look at me and start running. But now I look at it with respect, because it was a woman that inspired me, made me believe that I could run 100 miles anyway, and that's what I saw my son do. But I always say that. So I saw a couple of women, they come next to me, start looking. I just started laughing. Because I remember those days when I used to do that. I was just doing like 5-6 miles. Then when I was doing like 10-15 miles, every time I do that, I pay for it after they go. I'm like, what the biscuit? They're only doing 5 miles. Why did I even chase them down? And I think that took years of practicing how to submit to my own ego. Because it's not about ego anymore. So when the whole thing turns not to be about the ego anymore, it was a lot easier for me. I can just cruise. You could do whatever. See ya. I can just cruise for hours on my feet. And I mean hours, good hours. Just get to see my whole surroundings and embrace the things that I see a lot. So and that's what I've been doing with this whole running thing, just embracing every single moment. Everywhere I see, I embrace it. I pay attention to what's around me. The trees, the leaves, you name it, I pay attention to it. I'm trying to look at the sky, the wind. So what is really all about? Because my whole ideology now becomes, what's the point of me coming outside when I'm such in a hurry to go back in and I can't even enjoy it and I'm breathing heavy? I mean, those days, during that runs, I come home. But now, it's just like I come home and stretch and do push-ups after a 20-mile jog. Yep, that's what I do. I come home after a 20-mile jog, do 50 push-ups. And most of the time during the 20-mile jog, I'll probably get 100 push-ups in. I'll stop, stretch, do the push-ups and keep moving. So I always leave that space for me because that time is very, very crucial to me. It isn't just a time for just running for the sake of it. It is just time just to spend on that feet and embrace everything that's around me. So pretty much it's all about the egoless. I always say this then, if you want to run long distance, gotta let the ego disappear. The speed work has to disappear. That can be the issue. It's good to sprint if you're doing a 5K, but if you're running like a marathon, period, and you do speed work, it's okay, but it's not going to help you at that 18-19 miles. I can guarantee you that right now. Because when that leg begins to give out, it's a different case. So it's all about how much time you spend on your feet. That's what gives you that endurance to finish up. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm right, thanks, sir. Yeah. How much time you spend on your feet. Once you get used to spending a lot of time on your feet, your marathon becomes easier at that mile 18. But when you're not used to spending time on your feet, you're always going to cramp up. And a lot of the times, the cramping actually comes from the food that you eat. Believe it or not, the food that you eat. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm alright, thank you. The food that you eat. And your whole feet telling you, hey, I'm not ready for this shit, I'm too weak. Which, to a lot of people, many don't want to understand. Man, look what's going on here. They make me want to go join the party. Many just don't understand it. And I think that's the whole thing about long distance running. And that's how I would say sometimes when I'm actually out here talking, I don't even pick a topic. I just pick up what goes on in my head and I start talking about it. Because I see the passion that a lot of people have for running the marathons. But I think that 18 to 16 miles, no, 17, 16 for some, or 14 for some, is a mother biscuit. And it's all because of simple things. It's not the gym, the strength conditioning, no. It is all in the mind. That mind needs to be trained. And one of the very first things to train that mind is to let go of the ego, let go of the speed, and just learn how to spend time on your feet. If the ego doesn't disappear, you're always going to be in a hurry. And when you're in a hurry, you can forget running the marathon. Because that biscuit will beat you up. And another thing is to do it by yourself. Repetitionally. Morning. Repetitionally find time to always run at least 26 miles. And that whole ideology of not running the whole 26 miles before your race, please let it disappear. You know, because people will actually say, yeah, this, and we tell stories, and that's just our lazy mind. Someone might be able to do it. Other people might be able to just run 18 miles and complete a marathon. That doesn't mean you could do the same thing. To some people, you just have to train the whole 26 miles. You gotta feel it on your feet. Because what most runners experience, and they don't realize it, because the body is in so much shock, because the training wasn't really properly done. So when you do that 26 miles, which the mind can do, after the race, you go into this thing called, it's almost like you went, boom, depressed. You know, your body just, so whatever, you give up. It's like that mental challenge that nobody talks about, because most people don't even understand it. Most running coaches don't understand it. But what is really good after a marathon is to continue the training. If you run a marathon on Sunday, give yourself like 2 days and you start doing the 3 miles again. You know, all the way through the weekend. And that weekend, instead of running another 26, you go out there and you do another 13, because you got to let your brain get used to it. And after running one marathon, that doesn't mean you're a runner either, or 2 marathons, 5 marathons, because that thing is just so heavy on the mental thing. And it's like nobody talks about it. We talk about all this nutrition, all this, no. And that's what frustrates a lot of people. It's all in the mind. And running all this long distance marathon, it will challenge your spiritual belief. Because a lot of time, what most people don't realize is their spiritual teaching has been challenged during that long distance run. Because most of us will say, just because of the way it's been phrased to us, okay, we could do anything through so and so. I'm not going to mention names. But what happened is, when you're doing this 26 miles, after 16 miles, because numbers are very powerful, after certain numbers, if you don't believe that you are that creator is inside of you, your body crashes. Because what marathon teaches, whether most wants to believe it or not, is that God is within you. And that's why a lot of people will think their prayers are not being answered, because they pray and pray, yeah, I can do this too. And that moment comes, they crash. Now, when you are doing certain long distance periods, all the oxygen, your veins are open, your energies are open. And that energy wants to hear you say, I am part of everything. It doesn't matter how tired I'm getting, I'm just going to push my body forward. So a lot of people, even though they will not come out and say it in years, a lot of people are actually afraid to run a marathon. Because your first marathon, your second marathon, those things, it creates an anxiety in your brain. Just the thought of it alone. But most people never want to talk about it because of fear of feeling as if, hopefully I'll remember this topic and say more about it. Because of the fear of feeling as if they're weak. No, it is normal. Your first 10 marathons ain't gonna be great. When you truly look at the great Africans, the Kenyans that's been running this, they've run so many marathons. Many. So for you to think you can go around one marathon, and that's the reason what really also cracked me out when somebody runs like 6-5 marathons and all of a sudden they're expert in running. That biscuit don't work that way. You know? And for years, and I'm just saying this based on experience from years of endurance running, years of just coming out and doing 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles, over and over. Because my first, let me see, I can't count how many marathons I've run, let alone the races. But to actually count the marathons I've run by myself, I know I've done over I don't know. Let me just be nice. I've run over 250 marathons, period. Easy. Because last year alone, when I counted it, and that's just by me doing it every weekend, I did close to 40 marathons last year by myself. So those things take years of training. Years of training. And sometimes what happens is when you're doing this long distance, it can delusionize you. Many people start speaking like experts. No, it can create ego. That's the thing about these runs. They create an ego, a delusion in your mindset. And that's why most of the time I don't want to run with running groups, because I literally, for me, I admire women when it comes to long distance. And that's just how I get my motivation. Through seeing a woman giving birth to a baby, meaning I can push my body. If a woman can give birth to a baby, I can push out a baby. So when many people hear 100 miles, they look at me and I'm like, it's not even that serious. So there's a lot of psychological aspect that goes into running marathons, and people are making the same mistake over and over and over, and they're not willing to change. There's one thing that we have, this tradition of pasta. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you gotta create your own. You have to have your own preparation on how to run a marathon when you're at a race. Just because you went with a group, you don't have to go eat with them. You have to do none of that. You have to have your own mental preparation. The old preparation about, before that night, eat pasta. No. No offense to anyone, but I see it to be no. It's a form of control. Nobody is a better runner than you yourself. I can tell you that right now. It's all in the mind. The mind is, like I would say this, the last couple of years, I'm not even in shape. But I can come out and run 26 miles like it's nothing. Yes. Right now, I'm not in shape. I'm just healing. I call this a rehab run. But I'll still come out and do 20 miles, 26 miles. It's just that thing, the brain, me leaning on top of my brain. I'm not even in shape right now. That's why I haven't run any race buff. I will come out and run like 26 miles. Because I've done it for so long. So I know how to move. So for all you beginners, when it comes to this 26 miles, especially the people that's been running for 4 or 5 years, come on. There is a mental aspect to this thing that we do not talk about. I hear so much about food, but very little about the mental aspect of it. It is all mental. Not to mention the mileage, the way it's measured at the marathon is probably properly measured on, like when you have your GPS has a little bit more to your miles when we're running in our phones. Unlike when with the marathon, that's why most of the time you do the same speed at a marathon, you realize you did 26 miles at the same time. But when you're outside running by yourself, you can do that same time, and it will still not give you that 26 miles. So that's what I'm just thinking about today. So all your long distance running, it is all mental. It has nothing to do with food. And one sometimes has to take their own spiritual belief, the way they've been taught, out of the equation. You gotta find that. What did I say? You have to find that is within that thing that's within you. And especially a woman. Man, women should be busted at a marathon like it's nothing. Endurance running for a woman, running 26 miles, that ain't nothing. Compared to pushing out a baby, please. And the real women who are tapping into that consciousness realize that endurance running for women, oh please. Anyway, let me go ahead and finish this run. And I'm going to say, Happy Sunday. That's what came into my head today. Woo! Everybody's making noise. I got to see what's going on there too. See a lot looking around, so I got to focus now. So, sun is hitting my head, and happy Sunday.